Hi there, my name is Daniel Tuitt and I work as a lead service designer, a innovation consultant and a startup coach. I help organizations make the complex simple by looking at the intersection of good business design and customer experience. So a business strategy is so important for a lot of startups and founders these days, as it helps you really think about the future and really set your vision whenever you're entering a new market, creating a new product, or trying to create something that's compelling for your customer base. Imagine if you had a time machine. Think about how you can see the future. That's what a good strategy would help you do. And I always link a good strategy to thinking about, what if you had one eye on the present and another eye on the future? How can you think about all the things you're doing now, how that can impact you in the future? What makes a fantastic business strategy is really helping you overcome some of the fears you may have with running your own business. It really helps you understand how to grow in the right areas and focus on things that really support you to create value in the world and in your market. As a startup, I want you to think about a couple of questions. What if a new competitor comes into your space and impacts the way you operate as a business? What do you do then as a startup? Imagine if your customers that you've been building a relationship for the last 2 to 3 years have decided to move, or their needs have changed slightly. What happens then? What if the key thing that made you valuable and helped you grow for the last year to build traction, what if you need to change and add new features over time? A strategy really helps you take a step back and think about how to plan for the future. When coming up with the right strategy, it's all about really considering a couple of things. Thinking about how to plan for the right type of opportunities, making those decisions and actually be able to implement them. A lot of organizations, especially during COVID and a lot of other uncertain times, really used a good, pure business strategy to consider how they can evolve when there was a level of uncertainty and the business was at risk. Organizations such as Airbnb and WeWork really changed the way they looked at their whole ecosystem and the way they really run their business. So there are a number of key steps you can make when thinking about building the right type of strategy. The core of a good strategy is designed to help you win in your market space, whether it's just to think about where you are at the moment. If you're in a good rhythm or good movement, that's fine, but it's also helping you to get to a better place over time. I'd say one of the first things is to really take a step back and think about the bigger picture. What are some of the external and internal things that can impact your business becoming successful over time? Taking that opportunity to understand any complexity that might impact your business is really key. The second part is really thinking about who your customers are now and where they're going to go in the future. Now, you may already have a strong customer base, but this part of the strategy is really around thinking about what some of the key motivations and needs your customers may have in the future as you grow and start building more engagement for your target audience. You need to determine what features, what key things you need to build into place. Once you start growing your customer base, the next thing is really trying to identify your key customer needs, and this will evolve over time. It really goes into what value are you trying to create for your customers, and this might come in the form of something called a value proposition. This is where you've built something that's compelling, that really connects with your audience and customers, and it's something that they're willing to exchange time or money on using as a product or service. So the 3 key things your business should have as an effective business strategy is really centered around your customer in terms of who they are now and where they're going. It's really focused on the why, the what, and the how. When you focus on the what, it's really focusing on your value proposition, and that's the thing you bring to market. That's the key bit of value that's really compelling to anyone that sees it. They just know it can give them value straight away. So now you've developed your what as a value proposition, you can move on to the how, and that's how you're actually developing and creating value and bringing that to your customer base over time. And that could be based on a number of key resources that you need as a founder. It could be the key partnerships you have, the cost centers in terms of how you manage your team, or the resources that you need to help you create something and deliver it. And then the final part, number 3, is really focusing on the why. And this is the why would your customer come to your value proposition in the first place? What makes your product service or proposition really engaging. And there's usually exchange there. So it's why they would actually pay for your overall solution. That's something you need to think about when developing your strategy. All three of these combined is something that every business needs. So one of my favorite sayings is design with evidence when building a new business strategy. It can be really challenging for an organization to think long term between short term to long term strategy, especially when there's so much going on in your business at once. You need to be able to shift from thinking tactically to strategically. Tactical is really focusing on the day-to-day operations of your business, which can be really, really important, but you need to move past that and think about how to think strategically. How do you move 2 to 3 to 5 steps ahead of your competitors, of your customers in terms of decisions they make over time, and how do you build the right type of mechanisms to support your business over time? To overcome short-term thinking, you really need to think about the bigger picture. This really involves considering how to work on your business rather than in your business. How can you find the right type of people to support you to think beyond just day-to-day functions as you operate over time? As a founder, you really need to focus on your long-term strategy. Rather than focusing on output, you need to focus on outcomes. This is really focusing on the results that drive your business forward, rather than trying to think about this whole hustle culture side of things of just working and working and working. How can you position yourself in the right place to really make sure that every little thing you do creates value for your business and the people you serve? As a founder, you need to make sure that you're measuring everything you do, from making sure you've got the right type of pricing strategy, you're using the right type of marketing, and even when you're addressing some of your customers, making sure everything is measured in the right way. When I'm working with startups, I really want to focus on measuring the right type of things, and I use metrics as a key indicator. This really helps organizations and startups to understand exactly what to focus on. I would always say start with 2 or 3 that really focus on your finance, how much money you're getting in and how much money you might be using over time, your operational costs. Also consider how you're interacting with your customers, whether that's you're attracting and acquiring new customers, or it could be an aspect of how are you growing and building out relationships with the customers you already know. So you could be featured in 30 under 30. These are considered as soft metrics, things that might look good, might give you some brand recognition, but you really should focus on the hard metrics, and these are the things that help you move your business from your first 100 customers to your next million over time. And hard metrics can really focus on things such as your cash flow, how many people visit your website every single day, how many people actually purchasing using your product or service over time. Always focus on the hard metrics that help you shift and keep on growing as a business over time, rather than just soft metrics. The one bit of advice I always give startups I work with is to think about your core skills and go beyond that. And what I mean is find advisors, find team members that can really support you think differently around some of the complex challenges that a lot of businesses face. Building a strategy isn't easy, but it shouldn't be hard at the same time. You should be really focusing on building a team or advisor or support network that can help you with unique skills that really complement your own.